the prosecution needed to prove the ingredients of murder, which are, number one, that death occurred. They needed to prove 2, the cause of death. 3, that the death was unlawful. 4, whether the accused person caused Monica's death. And 5, they also needed to prove whether there was malice aforethought or premeditation. So we'll start with number 1, whether death occurred. Yes, this was very easy to prove. Death indeed occurred. And some of you would think that just producing the death certificate would prove that death occurred, but the death certificate is not conclusive proof of death because it can be faked. Here, the prosecution proved death occurred by witness testimony, the witness of the people who found Monica's body, that is her brother, the gardener, and the caretaker, on the morning of 20th September 2018. And they also proved her death by the testimony of the government pathologist who came and gave testimony on what he found when he was examining Monica's body and what the cause of death was, which ties into the second one, what her cause of death was. So the prosecution had to prove that her cause of death was not natural. And they did this through the witness testimony of the government pathologist who examined her body. He said that Monica died of exsanguination, which is a fancy medical term to just say she bled to death. And the bleeding to death was actually caused by the slitting of the throat, which the government pathologist said that was slit from not just at the front, but from the back of the left side to the back of the right side. She was almost decapitated. Her head was almost taken off. So on the first ingredients of whether death occurred and the second one of the cause of death, the prosecution proved that yes, indeed death occurred, and 2, the death was not natural. Someone caused her death. Now let's move on to number 3, whether the death was lawful. Yes, we have lawful and unlawful deaths, and I will give you examples of lawful deaths. An example of a lawful death can be in instances where the death is authorized by law. For example, in execution of a death sentence issued by a court, or you kill someone in self-defense or in defense of property. That is a lawful death, and you will not be prosecuted for that. But we also have excusable homicides. These are homicides that are committed by accident or by people lacking capacity to comprehend their actions, the consequences of their actions. For example, children and insane individuals. So the prosecution's role here in this case was to prove that Monica's death was unlawful. So this they easily proved because it was not caused by a child or anyone who is insane. And it was also not a lawful death. It was not authorized by a court of law. It was not done in self-defense, and it was not done in defense of property. Therefore, for ingredient 1, 2, and 3, the court decided in the prosecution's favor because they produced evidence and proved that 1, the death occurred, 2, the cause of death was not natural, and 3, the death was unlawful. Then let's move on to 4, and this is where we have the bulk, whether the accused persons caused Monica's death. So here we'll start with Jowie's submission because really this case was about Jowie. So I'm going to start with Jowie's submissions since he's the first accused anyway. So Jowie said, number 1, that he did not know Monica. He had never met her in his life. Number 2, he said he did not steal and use a fake ID card to access Lemuria Gardens apartments, and he did not do this because he did not know Monica in the first place. Number 3, he said his clothes did not implicate him in the murder because he did not know Monica in the first place, and he was not even anywhere near Monica and her house on the night of the murder. And number 4, he also said he was not in Monica's house, and therefore he was not the last person to be seen with Monica that particular day, because first and foremost, he did not know Monica anyway. And then he also said, number 5, that he did not have a gun and he did not use it to subdue Monica, because again, he did not know who Monica was in the first place. And then number 6, he also said the identification parade that was conducted on him was not conducted fairly and in accordance with the law, and so therefore it was unlawful. And then number 7, he also said in his submission that the prosecution had not given adequate evidence to the court to conclude that he was guilty. Now we're going to take down all of these submissions one by one, just like the court did. And I'm following the court's lead because I'm giving you the contents of the judgment, just to break it down so that you can understand it better, hopefully. So the court took Jowie's submissions and came up with 7 questions to answer or to determine. Number 1, did Jowie know Monica before her death? The second question was, did he steal and use a fake ID card to access Lamurai Gardens apartments? Number 3, did his clothes implicate him in the commission of the offense? Number 4, was he in Monica's house that night, and was he the last person to be seen with her? Number 5, did he have a gun that he used to subdue Monica? Number 6, was he positively identified in the identification parade? And lastly, has the prosecution given adequate evidence to court to conclude Jowie's guilt?